It never fails. Every time I try to record, there's landscapers doing stuff. So I got the kit from Shop Dab. It is the, let's see, Castrol Edge Professional OE oil that I'm gonna use to do the 10K service on this car. Now, I'm not gonna do just the oil change. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the entire service, which includes the oil change, the filters that need to be changed, the tire rotations, and all the topping off all the fluids, and also resetting all the maintenance lights. So make sure you stay tuned for the entire video. But I have to go get some windshield wiper fluid right now from AutoZone before we get started. All right, so we're back. I got some de-icer from AutoZone. I got the winter type because I like the defrost ability of that winter power one. So the first piece of this whole 10K service is going to be to top off all the fluids. I'm not going to go through the antifreeze portion of that because from what I'm looking at right now, it's sitting in a good place. So all you had to do is just visually inspect it. Now I know the windshield washer is definitely low, so I'm going to fill that up. If we move over to this side of the engine, the right side, there should be this blue tab here that has little wiper logo on it. Go ahead and pop that up. And we're gonna fill it up with some of this. Now I find the easiest way to do this is to poke a hole on this side and a hole on this side, so that way you can pour out of one side evenly and not make a mess, which I'm hoping not to do. Now as you're filling this up, you want to pay attention to the rest of the tube down here, so that way you know when it's starting to fill up. And when it gets to a good place where you know it's not going to overflow, and you close it back up, you move it back to the side where it's supposed to be, and you save the rest for later because you might need it throughout the winter. Now after you've topped off all your fluids, well, your antifreeze and your windshield wiper, you want to take off the engine cover here. This pretty much just pop-ups. There's 4 grommets all around, and you can take it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop that up. We're gonna move that aside. You're gonna find this oil thing, and we're gonna loosen it up. Just loose for now. Just leave it just like that. And the reason why we want to loosen it up is because when we take off the bolt from underneath, we want to make sure that the oil flows nicely. I'm not going to touch the oil just yet. You do want to warm up your engine. I just ran to AutoZone, so my engine is definitely warm. Did a few pulls and stuff, so it's definitely in a good place right now. So we're actually going to jack up the car, and we're going to rotate the tires. Now last time I did a zigzag, this time I'm just going straight back with the tires. So I'm moving the front left to the back left, and I'm moving the front right to the back right, and making things nice and simple. So let's get to that.
To the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
As you remove each tire, what you want to do is really inspect these. You want to inspect the depth. You want to make sure you're not using up too much of it. I have about 10,000 miles on the car right now, 9,800 to be exact. You also want to check uneven wear. So you want to check if there's more wear on this side than on this side, or in the middle. Most times you won't get in the middle, but definitely on the sides. And then you want to also look around, see if there's any punctures, you know, any nails, anything like that that might have caught your tire. Let's see here. Tire looks pretty good. I think I'm ready to kind of slap it back on and get to the rest of this 10K service. So the next thing would be the oil change. I'm gonna leave the car on jack stands and take care of that. Now I have to head back upstairs and get my oil drain bucket, but I do want to go over one little tool that you're definitely going to need, and that is this right here. It is a 32 millimeter. It doesn't have to be deep socket. It could be a regular socket, but you're gonna need it for the oil filter. Now, if you've owned a Honda before, I believe, or Scion, I'm not sure which car I use it on as an axle nut, but this is the same size as the axles for those cars, or one of those cars. So I actually happen to have the socket, so I didn't need to go out and buy it. So great. Pluses of being a hoarder. Now, if you're anything like me and you're lazy and cheap, you go get yourself one of these AutoZone buckets. They're like $4, I think, $3. And this is what you're gonna drain your oil on. Now, the only way you can do this is if you have a jack that's like high enough that you can jack up your car up pretty high, because this is about 10 inches, 9 inches high. So you want to make sure you can jack up your car that high up. Now there's a good like opening where the oil pan stuff sits, so I should be able to slide this underneath there and get all the oil out in this pan here, or this bucket, and then dump them back into the original little containers that came from Shop Dad. So I do want to show you the Shop Dad kit, so give me just 1 second and I'll be back. So here's the kit. Nice little box. Whoa, let me get back up here. So it comes with 5 of these professional edge Castrol. It also comes with an OEM filter right here. And I think inside of here I also have a washer. In this box I have a filter. I also have a new bolt for the oil pan, a little plastic stud thing, and then I have this O-ring for the oil filter housing. So let's get back to the car. Let's install these bad boys and finish up, because I have the rest of the day to do things, and I'm pretty excited because I'm off. So let's get to it. So since we've already loosened this up, all the oil should be at the bottom of the oil pan. So let's go to the bottom of the car, loosen up that oil pan. I'll show you where to do it, and then we'll fill this thing back up, change the filter, and we should be all done with our 10K service. Now, VWs are so simple. It's really just this flathead little thing over here that you have to loosen up, and then that'll get the bucket all filled up. Like I said, there should be plenty of space under here that you can do this. So make sure that you jack up your car all the way. So I ran upstairs while it drained out, so that way I did not waste my life. Now we're getting back to it. Now, first things first, let's get a new bolt installed up here. I'm actually going to just take it like this. Don't want to get dirty, and just hand tighten it a little bit. Then I'm going to grab my screwdriver and screw it back in. Now you want to make sure it locks, so you have to turn it until this, I'll show you what it looks like right now, but there is a little locking tab right here. You want to make sure you turn it all the way until it sits flush. It's not going to be like super tight, but it'll hold in the oil perfectly. As soon as the engine gets warm, those seals will activate and it'll seal up. So let's move this oil out of the way. Let's check it out because I want to make sure there's no shavings or anything like that from the engine, any malware inside of here, and then we'll just change out the oil filter and we'll be done. Now let's inspect this oil here. Doesn't seem to be much going on. A few little small bubbles here and there, but nothing to be scared of. A lot of those bubbles are really just from having soap in this container, so they rose up to the top, and any dirt that was at the bottom also rose up to the top. But I don't see any big metal shavings or anything like that in the oil that I should be scared of, so I think we're good. Now the next thing here is going to be replacing this oil filter housing. Now we're gonna remove this by just unscrewing it, just like this. once it's unscrewed enough, you can pretty much grab your hand and then unscrew it the rest of the way. Now be careful when pulling this out, because obviously there is going to be oil all over the place. Now coming down this way, we're going to grab this. We're going to wiggle it out, twist and turn it just like that. And then there's an O-ring around here that we also want to take off. Just grab your flathead, go underneath it, and pull it out. This is also going to be garbage. Just slide the new filter in, and let's bring it to the top and install it again. Well, actually, let's put on this O-ring first. There we go, all back in place. Screw this back on the car, and then we're done. You don't want to over torque this. Just a slight snug is perfect. So the last piece of this is going to be to fill up the oil. Now this engine fills up with about 5.7, 5.8 quarts. Now I don't have a funnel here, so we're going to be as careful as possible. A good rule of thumb to do is fill up the first 5 and then do about 5.5 and double check with the dipstick to see where you are as far as oil levels go, and then add as required. If you think these Germans don't think of anything, check this out. They put a little mark here just so that you know how the oil cap's supposed to line up, just in case you put it backwards. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how you double check your work. These Germans think of everything. Now one thing that I realized with these cars is they do consume quite a bit of oil. I managed to take out 5 full quarts of that oil, and then, you know, with the spillage and anything that was left over in the bucket, I probably got about 5 1/4 out of it, which means that I lost about half a quart throughout the 10K, the first 10,000 miles of this car. So I wasn't driving it very easily either. I was being very aggressive for the first 10,000 miles, and also it's been tuned, so it's been running at pretty high boost levels for most of its life. So kind of worries me down the road, but I guess I'll just have to make regular checkups on the oil every single time I go to the gas station, because I should be doing that anyway. Alright guys, so that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed and you got the full 10K service down packed. Just in case you're thinking about buying a GTI, this is what you'll have to go through at the 10,000 mile mark. If you enjoyed this video guys, make sure you consider subscribing down below for more GTI videos and more car vlogs. Again, I'll have more stuff coming up soon. Working with DFG Tuning next, as well as modded Euros to bring you some more content. So thank you very much for watching guys. See you in the next one. Peace.